Hello, everyone. It's Royce here, and I want to welcome you all to my Royce in the House YouTube channel. Tonight, we're going to have a good time. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite band, well, my favorite band, once again, Led Zeppelin. To my left, to my right on the screen is Dave. I am Hop Frog. Dave's a great guy. Really knows a lot about music. Showed me a big selection of new albums he just got come across, and Dave is very, very knowledgeable, and I understand an excellent guitar player as well. Below the two of us, and please check out I Am Hop Frog, Dave's own show,
Yes,
okay? Because he does a
yes.
great job. And directly below us is the one and only Michael Nolan, the bottom line. Michael Nolan and I have been hanging out ever since he had 600 subscribers, and now he's got getting close to 43,000. Isn't that right, Michael?
We're I just hit 41.8. So
41.8. Okay.
yeah,
So
it's
I
been
don't have
incredible.
to I don't
Yeah,
have to tell anybody, how his show has been received because he's got a huge, huge fan base because he has great content. Great content translates into views and growth. Okay, and Michael,
I
I take
sanctuary.
my hat off to you because I've never seen anything like your growth. I'm
Oh,
really
thank.
impressed, brother, and I'm really happy for you because I know how hard you work at it. I mean,
Well,
you put
yeah,
everything
and to
into
be
it.
honest, I have can you even hear me tonight? Because we're
Oh
doing
yeah,
a, okay, because we're doing a test tonight, folks. The
yeah.
reason I told Royce that if see what's happened is StreamYard is not only upping their prices, but I figured it out. They're one of the they're having warfare with Apple, and so they no longer support the Apple browser. And so they switch over to the StreamYard app, which I have no problem with. But in the past couple of shows, it's really brought down my volume. And so if that continues, I will always support this show. I will always be in the peanut gallery. I will always talk this show up on my channel. But if my volume isn't going to be heard, then you might not be seeing me in the future so often. Maybe come up in spurts or whatever. But if it's fixing itself uh, tonight,
Well,
or we can
yeah.
find a way, it's my firm intention to be
I'll
on this show because I love. Royce talks about the size of my show. I don't give a damn about people's sizes of the show. At 41,000 in our little quadrant of the universe seems big, but anybody under 100 grand or 100,000 subscribers is still small potatoes on YouTube.
yeah.
I'm just a
Well,
guy with a mouth hoping that Dave Pound shows up tonight so I can give him the verbal spanking that he needs. We'll talk about that later, but we want to
okay.
stay on track with Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
But
Let's right, right.
it is a
Well,
community, Royce, and the
yeah,
community was
no, it
great
is a community, and
today. You
yeah,
know, and I
well,
don't
first of
like
all,
that.
I want to address the way you sound. You sound great. I mean,
Oh, good, good, good.
what do you think,
Yeah,
Dave?
let us know in the comments too. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
because I
In
did
the
get a
comments,
couple of comments on
Michael.
my channel that they noticed my volume was down, and I
Well,
showed it to my wife. She saw that, but then I went back to it a day later, and my volume was fine. The same. It was last week's stream, and the last time I checked, my volume was fine. But I swear to God, I checked it immediately after. I even signed out and re-signed in, and it was down. So it's something to do with StreamYard. And,
yeah.
if I ever do go to streaming, which has always been a possibility, I would never stream against Royce. As a matter of fact, I would aim my stream in such a fashion that it would promote Royce. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's fine streaming channels out there. Some of the great streamers are in the peanut gallery right now. But Royce, he says 700. Actually, when Royce and I first started talking, and we weren't really aware too
Might
much
have
of
been,
each
yeah.
other's channel, he was the larger channel, and he
No,
treated
was I
me.
really?
Yes, you were. You had 200 more or 150 more than I had at that time, and it
I
was
had no idea.
remember, it was your. The only reason I discovered you is you did your travel video on the Haight Ashbury
Haight
district,
Ashbury. That's right.
and
Yeah.
so I wrote a nice little thing to you, and I think I told you. And by the way, I have a channel, and at that time I was doing videos on how to edit videos. That my channel wasn't about rock and roll at all. And
That's
Royce,
true. Yeah.
as the bigger channel, accepted me. And to me, when I'm up here, I'm just up here with one of my very best friends in life.
No, that's
Okay.
how I
I have
feel.
never shaken this man's hand. I have never
I
given him a
know.
hug because we've never met in real life,
We've
but I
never met,
count him
in real life.
as
Yeah.
a very dear friend of mine,
You
and
know what?
I love his show.
As odd as that sounds, I feel exactly the. I describe you as, yeah, my best friend Michael Nolan. You know?
Yeah, we're just buddies,
Right. Exactly.
and to hell with channel sizes. What Royce and I have been trying to do since I guess I've kind of become his co-host, although Dave and Elliot is showing up. And Dave, please, continue to show up on this. Royce needs a great panel. You are the kind of person we've been looking for, and so is Chris. And when we get a panel up with at least four people that kind of know what they're talking about,
Right.
then
Well,
the whole experience is enriched for those who are in
yeah.
the
No,
peanut
that's
gallery and
right.
everything.
I think you
Absolutely.
have to be. I think you have to be at least a fan of the band and willing to maybe do a little bit of research and come on and
Right.
participate. I think that's important. That to me, I'm always impressed when I see a show like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
Led
and people
Zeppelin.
don't realize I get on early often, and
Yeah.
I'll be on, and Royce doesn't even see me backstage, and I'll just be watching him, and he's going through his notes a good 45 minutes. I've seen him as early as 45 minutes before this show, and even then he was already had been in his notes. So he's well prepared. He really puts this
Well,
together for us, and you guys in the peanut gallery, you make the show.
the peanut
Respond to
gallery.
us.
The peanut gallery definitely makes a show. I love the way
Exactly.
they interact with
Hi,
all of us.
Angela.
And I wanted to say hi to
DJ
Angela.
Johnny L.
Hi, Dr. Rick. Johnny L. Novice Nick is here. Hey guys,
Dr. Rick,
I
yep.
do have a link up.
James,
I've got a link up.
George.
Anyway, so Led Zeppelin II, okay, a commercial success and considered one of the most influential albums of all time. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, I think everybody would agree with that.
Oh yeah.
It reached number one on the charts in the U.S. and the U.K. And boy, do I feel blessed to have lived that in real time. Dave and I were talking about it right before the show. I was in high school when Led Zeppelin, 69, when Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 both came out. And I was I was still in high school when Led Zeppelin 3 came out in 70. I didn't graduate till 71. So I
Right.
was a high schooler, and all we did was, listen to music and try to escape a little bit back in those days. And music was like the most important things in our lives. Well, one of them, there was girls and things like that, but music was big. And to live through that and saw everybody's reaction to Led Zeppelin, it's like such a phenomenal thing. I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my whole life, is the reaction to Led. Well, I can't take it away from the Beatles. The Beatles had probably a bigger reaction than Led Zeppelin had, because that was real groundbreaking. People were a little more used to that kind of thing by the time Led Zeppelin came along. So Led Zeppelin's impact seemed almost more impressive, later on in years.
You know what, Royce? You brought up a good point.
Okay.
Saying that Led Zeppelin was part of our lives, and you go, and yeah, and then the girls. Back then, Royce is a year older than me, so I'm right behind him.
Right.
But we're both young enough to be, old men by now. But here's the
Right.
thing: the girls were what was important to us, and Led Zeppelin and other bands were the soundtrack to us getting girls, you know. I mean,
Right, right.
they'd be playing in the car. We'd pick the friend with the coolest car and go tooling down 4th Street Friday and Saturday night, and looking for chicks. And Zeppelin was probably especially once you got into the 70s proper, it was Zeppelin that was being played probably more than any other band up and down 4th Street tooling on a Saturday or Friday night. So
Right.
the soundtrack, at least, wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Absolutely. Hey,
they
Michael,
even
there's,
said
there's
that.
a little, there's a little, not to get sidetracked, but there's a little message here for you to read while I'm doing some scrolling. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Johnny. You know what? Can I take a minute and discuss this, Royce? And then we'll get on to the show proper.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Johnny. People who know me know that. Well, I'm not even another poor Dave from Texas Safe and Sound said anybody that knows me knows I'm a nice guy, and then he got ripped over the coals for even saying that. So I'm not going to bother to say that. I think I'm pretty much who you see up here, and Royce knows me. Johnny knows me very well. We've shared screen time. Today I was on Sir James' stream, and I support James and Caitlin's streams very actively. I tried to. The only time I'm not on in their peanut gallery is if I'm shooting a video or editing a video and I just can't get on. I heard that they were hollering for me on Caitlin's last stream, and I was busy doing my latest video, Caitlin. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, today on James' stream, they were having a discussion. I wasn't part of the panel. I was in the peanut gallery like all you folks out there. And they were discussing Yoko, and a couple of, when you discuss Yoko, people start going. They were discussing how she hid in a bag on the live piece in Toronto and ruined the whole second half of that album by screaming bloody murder. And I brought up something, and this character named Dave Pounds called me. Well, he said what I said was racist and hateful. The only word he missed from his alt-left lips. And I'm not talking, if you folks out there are left or right oriented politically, I don't care. It's I trust you all to make decisions based on your own private life and what you think is right in life. But the alt-left and the alt-right, I have no room for either one of those camps. And I was surprised he didn't include the word misogynist, because that's usually you're a racist, a hater, and a misogynist. But he didn't get that, Dave. Dave, you didn't get it. You're slow on the draw, buddy. All right. But anyway, so I got up, and Sir James, thank you so much for allowing me. I took too much liberty with my language. I've put that video on for my members on my Patreon, and I've bleeped out all the, really bad words that came out of my lips. But here's the thing. As I've stated many times on this show, and every single one of you in the gallery tonight knows this, if you've been on this show and listened to me, I am happy for John Lennon that he found Yoko, and I'm happy for Yoko that she found the man that died in her arms. It is a great love story. However, just because I am also a John Lennon music fan does not mean that I have to be a Yoko Ono music fan. And I've always said that, and I said it today less eloquently, I always have said that she is a great artist when it comes to concepts. I love her concepts, but they're always so unfinished. And I think that's why John liked her, but it doesn't ring my chimes. Now, does that mean she's not a great artist? No, it just means I don't like her art and I don't like her music. And then he said, you said to cancel her. And what I was doing was typing, and I said, cancel Yoko. And then I tapped and it went out as cancel Yoko. So while I was typing, I was trying to finish that, was cancel Yoko's songs off of Milk and Honey and Double Fantasy. and then combine John's songs, and you've got one of the best post Beatle albums ever created. John, to the day he died, was writing at the top of his game. And I think she hurt by sharing that space. She hurt him as an artist consistently. So this guy comes out and he claims I'm a racist. All right. So, first of all, it's getting to the point where the only person, the artists that you can criticize these days, and this doesn't even hold up all the time, are older white rock artists. Okay, they're safe to criticize unless you're the big mouth Roger Waters and can't keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Or on the other side of the political aisle, Ted Nugent, who can't keep his mouth shut. I have no use for these people, right? So, Dave Pounds, I'm telling you, when you call somebody a racist from where I come from, brother, that'll get you a fist in the face every time, and you usually don't wake up from that for a couple hours.
Yeah.
All right?
Well,
how dare you? How dare you call me a racist? You're a pig. I'm done.
well, okay. I have to admit, I really haven't. I've got a whole bunch of albums over here, 600 of them, and there's some that I haven't even listened to yet because it's hard to get around to listening to everything. Then you get more. You go out one day, you come home with 10 new ones. You got 4 you haven't listened to yet. And it starts to build up a little bit. But I do have a John Lennon Yoko Ono album that I've never listened to. I've basically drawn my conclusion unfairly, I'm sure, from the fact that when Frank Zappa invited them up on stage at the Fillmore East after his set was over, his main set, just to jam with him. They'd been brought over to his house earlier in the day in New York by a reporter, and he said, "Well, come on by the Fillmore East after my set. You can come up, we can jam together." And they did. And I did a little video that Yoko Ono and John Lennon stole Frank Zappa's song King Kong, which he'd already recorded. They did have an agreement that they could both use the tapes from their little jam session, but he was surprised that they took the song King Kong, which was obviously not a jam. It was a real song that was actually on one of his albums. So anyway, that kind of stuff is funny. That's why I put it on. But
Royce,
the only thing.
Dave is in the thing, and you said erase Yoko. At least get your fucking facts straight, Dave. I actually typed cancel Yoko, which for someone like you, I'm sure that was a trigger. All right. But I've already explained, since you're late to the game here, that what I was trying to type, but the damn type correction sent the message off, was that cancel Yoko stuff off of Milk and Honey and Double Fantasy. And then you've got one of the greatest post-Beatle albums by one of my favorite albums. All right? So just because I don't like your stinking little artist, and by the way, Dave, since you're late to school, all right, we're going to have to put a dunce camp on you, and you're going to sit in the corner afterwards because since you're late, I have to keep teaching these youngsters, Royce. All right. But you called me a racist.
Hey, Johnny.
Hi, Johnny. How you doing? And you called me a hater. All right. Now, you, my friend, are doing the same thing that every single alt-left person on this planet does today. Only you missed one of your key words. You forgot to call me misogynistic because she's a female. So therefore, I must hate women too, because I don't buy your artist. Okay. And I don't care. And then you said that it was disrespectful to John. Okay. You said this in the comments because I had my opinions about Yoko. How is that disrespectful to John, who I consider tied as the greatest songwriter of the 20th century with Paul McCartney? You're a moron. You are a freaking moron. And you are exactly what's wrong with a lot of the crap that goes online these days. You spread your evil intent. You cast aspirations at people. We had a cat that was black, and while I was up on the panel, he was laughing his ass off because I made so much sense to him. So,
Yeah.
what world are you living in?
Anyways,
I'd like
Johnny,
to say something. I'd like to put my 2 cents in here. Is that okay, Royce? Or
Johnny, go ahead.
no, I don't want. It's your show. I don't want.
No.
I was fuming about this because I know Michael Nolan, and I've been following him for quite a while, and he's far from being a racist and hateful. Let me tell you something. This guy knows what he's talking about. He's the real deal, and just because he doesn't like, it doesn't matter who the artist is, or who the band is. If they sound like shit, he'll sell it. They'll sound like shit. And I'll tell you something else. He's right about Yoko. She can't sing for beans. I can't stand it. It's like scratching a blackboard. And I'm not a racist. So this race card is being so abused and misused. If you don't agree with somebody else, they'll call you a racist and everything else. Well, Michael Nolan is not that. Michael Nolan is far from being that. He's a stand-up guy. I love him, and I'm one of his elders, and I'm proud to be a friend of his, even though we live far apart.
Royce, I will say this, and thank you, Johnny. I will say this. At least Dave has the freaking guts to get up here and say his words. So I always will give you kudos for that.
You got to give him kudos for that.
What you just said. You said I'm outnumbered here, but you didn't need to insult her. I didn't insult her. I said she insulted the second half of Live Peace in Toronto. Give it another listen.
Well,
tell me
Dave,
you put that side of that album on every day.
Right, Mike. Dave, I want you to know that you and I don't know each other. Maybe I've seen you on Rachel's show or something in the past. But, I've never known Mike. I consider Michael, we haven't even met personally. I consider him my best friend. I mean, he's a great guy, and I've never heard him make racial statements. Maybe, I don't know if they sound racial to somebody. What I was going to say about Yoko, and I need to get around to listening to Double Fantasy and some of the stuff that I bought.
Royce,
Royce,
if I was a racist, why am I raising my 18? They're going to be 18 in December. 17-year-old, half white, half black nephews. All right. Why did I live in the same house with their father, who is black and part of our family, for 5 years?
Oh no, Michael, you don't have to tell. I grew up without a race.
I have Filipino grandchildren. All right. I have half Chinese grandchildren. I love every single one of them. All right. Every single one. I want the best for all of them. All right.
Well,
that don't make Yoko Ono a great artist, Dave. All right. And you know what? I do want to say this. Dave had the guts to show up here. He's got some guts. All right. I'll give him that. I think you're wrong about me. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have attacked me. And I'm not the kind of guy you attack, because I come back. I'm like piranha, baby. I'll strip you of your skin before you're out of the water every time. Okay. But I'm not this insane asshole. All right. That thinks that, I've over-explained myself. Let's get on to Led Zeppelin.
So I have a question. Will he ever be allowed to have tapioca pudding ever again in his life?
You know what, Dave? You can have your tapioca pudding. You showed up, but it's still early to bed for you. All right.
Good job.
My mind's pretty scrambled right now, but I'm just going to show. It's all good, Michael. It's okay. I'll probably have the highest ratings ever, or I won't have any views at all.
I've either sabotaged this or.
If anybody knows me,
Michael.
I was kind of out of character right now, but I just got a little flustered there for a minute.
Oh,
my,
I've seen you in that character, Johnny. That's the real you,
Not
and I
that much.
appreciate you,
Come on,
brother.
man.
Yeah.
well, you know,
No,
Michael,
you wait. You
Chris,
wait.
Chris Smith came on here from your show. He said he's been a long time subscriber, and now because of you being here, he's subscribing to my show.
Awesome.
That's
Thank you,
not the
Chris.
first time that's happened, you know. So
That
this
is
this
awesome.
album actually won a Grammy Award.
As it should have.
Yeah. So and on this side, of course, it's got you know, all the songs listed. This is a great album. I love this album. You know, I have a confession to make. Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 came out a few months apart. Led Zeppelin 1 didn't have like a single like Whole Lotta Love. So a lot of us who loved Led Zeppelin the moment we heard it hadn't heard Led Zeppelin 1 when Led Zeppelin 2's Whole Lotta Love came out, and we all lost our freaking minds, you know. So that's kind of like my little story. Led Zeppelin 2 kind of jumped out ahead of Led Zeppelin 1. And I was going to a school in Las Vegas. I lived in Henderson, Nevada. The school was in Las Vegas. It was a trade school, Southern Nevada Vocational Technical Center. And so you had people anywhere from 16 years old getting their high school diplomas there. But instead of having a bunch of electives, they had one vocation they spent anywhere from 3 to 5 hours studying in, you know, whether it was airframe and power plant, working on airplanes, refrigeration, working on air conditioning units. And, you know, Vegas needs a lot of those guys. But anyway, so we were all there. We were treated like adults, which was a huge mistake. These are like the heaviest of our partying years. Everybody there would seem to be high every single day. And but anyway, so Led Zeppelin 2 came out with Whole Lotta Love. Led Zeppelin 1 was off the charts. It's one of those schools, like I said, I was in an auto mechanics class. I was looking for the easy way out. I didn't care. I just wanted to get out and move to California and resume my life. But I had a guy 55 years old who was in the Flying Trapeze Act at Circus, and he was getting too old to continue, so he's learning how to be an auto mechanic. He was like the Flying Walindas or something like that, and he was like the old man of the group, you know. And the rest of them were his kids and stuff, you know. But anyway, that's the kind of a school it was. It was just completely insane there. And so we stood outside between classes, and all we talked about was music. Led Zeppelin was always a part of the conversation. And believe it or not, there was a big group of guys that were kind of mad that Led Zeppelin 2 came out with Whole Lotta Love as a single, you know, in pursuing commercial success, which Led Zeppelin brought them was commercial success. They thought it was kind of a sellout. They liked the rawer, grittier Led Zeppelin 1, and last I saw them, they hadn't gotten over it yet.
Wow, anyway, that's interesting, because I would have thought that the very first cut off the first album would have been almost as big a hit as A Whole Lotta Love if it had been released.
Oh, and I wish a couple of them had been released.
Yeah, good
because
times.
we had a few.
Awesome.
Both albums were released in '69, but we had a few month delay there before we heard Whole Lotta Love. But I'll tell you what, when Whole Lotta Love came out, it was like I don't know what I would even compare an equivalent to it, because it was playing everywhere you went. You know, it was coming out of a jukebox. Or just everywhere you went, it was playing. It was like the biggest thing I remembered, you know, all the way back to the Beatles. Let me put it that way. They were huge.
Yeah. I came to the game.
Novice Nick, I want to say hello to Novice Nick, who's directly below me. Novice Nick is a great guy. We really appreciate it every time you join us. And same with you, Johnny. We miss you. We miss you guys when you're not here, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry, Royce, for being late. I was in hair and makeup, and as you can see, there was nothing they could do to help me.
Well, I had to turn the air conditioner on. I didn't want to look like Giuliani with my makeup melting, you know.
God, it is hot.
It is hot. Yeah. We were coming down off of Cuesta Grade on Friday, coming home from work. It was 111 degrees, and I thought, well,
oh my.
True to form, when we get to our house in the West Hills, we're 11 miles from the ocean, we get to our house, it's going to drop below 100. That always happens. That's how this property was advertised up here. We got to our house, it was still 106.
Oh, boy.
Well, we actually have broken through the heat wave, and currently it's 67 degrees here, and it's dropping down to 59 tonight.
Nice.
So this is the first break between yesterday and today's the first break we've had from the
Oh,
high
it's been,
90s in
it,
months.
it's been
Yeah,
a
I'm about
scorcher.
4 or 5 hours north of Royce, and we only hit 104 today. We were very lucky.
Well, we've been there, done that down here, so you're welcome to it for a little while.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Sorry, but we haven't
un-
had this. I had to listen, and I heard the strange sound. It was the silence of the air conditioner.
Nice, nice.
I
Well, you
always
know,
love that first time where it's nice and cool, and you realize there's no going on in the background.
So,
Yeah.
Royce,
Well,
Yes.
especially at work where it's 5,000 cubic feet.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Piccolina,
Yeah,
our good friend Piccolina the cat is here. Go check
Hey,
out
Piccolina.
Piccolina the cat's YouTube show.
Long time, Johnny. Good to see you.
It's nothing.
That's Dave.
It's nothing but a good vibe there. Piccolina the cat.
so Dave, or Dave, so Royce.
Royce.
No, that's Dave in the middle, right?
Yeah. I'm Dave. That's Royce.
Hey, Royce.
Yes, sir.
Dave's not here.
How proud.
So, which one do you think is better? Like, I got this one.
Yes.
And
I'm
Well,
looking for an OG of one of those.
this one.
Yeah, that's 3. You weren't here last week when I covered Led Zeppelin 4,
And
and
It was a good show.
Yeah, it was.
yeah,
I loved it.
I loved that show last week. In fact, when I decided to go back to Led Zeppelin this week, I started studying Led Zeppelin II. I said to myself, why don't I just go to 1? If people still want to see 2 and 3 and 5, then I'll just work my way up. But then it was just weeks ago. I covered the formation of Led Zeppelin, the end of the Yardbirds, Jimmy Page throwing a band together in a hurry, how he found every single one of the members, how that all came together. They did the couple of weeks Scandinavian tour, came back, rebranded themselves to Led Zeppelin, and then it took them a few weeks to record Led Zeppelin 1, but before anybody disagrees with me, it was only 36 hours. Those 36 hours, we always quote the 36 hours.
Wow.
It's really impressive. But
I
those
always heard
36
it
hours.
was 30 hours.
Well, I've heard 30, 35, and 36. I went with the longer one,
Right.
but hey, we've been joined by my dear friend Linda Foster. How
Hello,
are you,
Linda.
Linda?
Hi, Linda.
It's great to see you again. Yeah. So then we've got Linda Foster here. We've got Dusty Spins is with us. Eric Schultz. Thanks, Eric. You've always been a big supporter. I really
Eric's a
appreciate
good
it.
guy.
Good.
I was gonna.
Frog. But anyway, so it was 30 to 36 hours, let's say, but it was spread over a few weeks. Now,
Yeah.
what was different, Led Zeppelin 2 took months because it was done all over the country. They recorded some in Los Angeles. They recorded some in New York. It's like wherever they went, and they kept the tapes with them. Wherever they went, they were recording some of the songs for Led Zeppelin 2. And,
That's right.
it exhibited the band's evolving musical style of blues-derived material and other guitar riff-based sound. And boy, I have loved it. I've loved it from the first time I heard it, and I think everybody here would say the same thing. 99 in Groovy Lisa's Town. Dave, hello, Linda. Yeah,
Hey, Royce,
Linda and I go back.
I was going to say, I've got this one.
Oh,
Sorry, Linda.
Right on.
But I showed this last week. But this is, I just bought this. This is a German pressing, and it's also, it has both versions. It has Led Zeppelin II, the version we all know, and then the Jimmy Page remixed version as well.
Okay.
And I'd like to hear from the panel or anybody in the peanut gallery. What do you guys think about the alternative albums? I like them, but I know they have their detractors. That Jimmy did,
it's just like I mentioned last week on Led Zeppelin 4. They had this thing ready to go, Led Zeppelin 4, and they happened to stop at a studio to listen to it one last time, and none of them liked it. And Jimmy Page completely remastered the entire album before it was released. Right. So remastering is like a double-edged sword. It can be really good or sometimes bad. But when it comes to Jimmy Page, I tend to really respect his judgment on that, and I think.
But let's get back. You were talking about Linda. Before we get too far, I interrupted what you were saying about Linda, and I don't.
Yeah, well, Linda and I go back. Linda and I go back as far as Caitlin and I, Bill Kay and I, and so many people that were at an earlier show together, where we all became friends. We all participated in the chat. Sometimes even a little bit on the panel, competing with our vinyl and things like that. And so we go back a long ways, and I consider Linda a very good friend. Linda encouraged me really to actually have a podcast. I was doing some real basic album unboxing. I had a tripod with my cell phone on it, and the pictures are terrible. They're still part of my playlist, and I would unbox 4 or 5 albums.
Thanks, Eric.
That was it. They might last 10 minutes or something like that. And Linda encouraged me to get together with some guys that had been on the show we were all enjoying, and that ended for them as well as it did for us. And so we all got together, and I had like a regular 5-person panel every single week, and it was a fun show. Mm-hmm. These guys were so knowledgeable music-wise. They had collections that would just blow your mind. All kinds of one-off things. I mean, some of them were big Kiss fans, or all of them were, and one of them had a Kiss pinball machine. They had
nice.
They had, Kiss didn't make albums for a long time. They had Kiss albums from every country that ever made one. They had everything that,
Wow.
When I said that, they say, "Oh no, there's a lot more." But as far as I could see, they had everything in the world. But we had a lot of fun.
Zeppelin is the one band that I'm actually interested in getting some of their off stuff and everything.
And so am I.
The Beatles,
Because what I understand, because I don't have any, but a lot of their live stuff, they've got these long extended solos. Like I told you guys 2 weeks ago, I was at Robert Plant and Alison Krauss, and they did a really long extended version of When the Levee Breaks. And I was I was going out of my mind. That was so cool. And
well, I have 2 albums that have them live. One is Dallas 1975, and the other is the Fillmore West, January 5th. Anyway, 1969. And that album starts off, Jimmy Page spends 10 minutes doing some of the best noodling I've ever heard, and then the whole band cranks in to, I forget the cut that they're doing, but there are times when you don't see that. And to me, as a Jimmy Page aficionado, I got to have those recordings, Royce, because he's the best guitarist in rock.
Right. Oh yeah, me too. Well, I got to give a shout out right now to P401, Paul. Paul was just saying hi to Linda because he goes all the way back to the old Coffee Talk show that we were all on together.
Hi, Paul.
And Paul is one of my newest members of the Royce in the House membership. So I just want to give you a shout out, thank you, and I appreciate seeing you here tonight. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, so
I'm a member too, Paul. So we'll see each other in the chat once he gets up all those bonus videos we've been waiting for.
Oh, I've had a little bit, but they had a deadline to where they transferred over to a pre-recorded regular show. Yeah. But anyway, so thanks, Paul. I appreciate it.
No, and I've caught like one of those
right
as a member, and then but for whatever reason I didn't get the notification. So you might look into that. That's exactly right. And I did fill out the time for the notification and everything, but something went wrong. It was the first time I'd done it. Something went wrong there. You're just getting started. It'll. Yeah, that's right. So so the band, Jimmy Page, singer songwriter. Jimmy Page actually wrote most of the songs on Led Zeppelin II. Led Zeppelin I was a lot of and later on, they all played a part. They all had some input, but Jimmy Page was the main writer to begin with. It wasn't until Stairway to Heaven that Jimmy said, "Well, I guess I have to give it to Robert. He's a better writer than I am." I read that somewhere. I thought it was pretty cool. But anyway, I thought Robert started writing lyrics for the band with Led Zeppelin II and on. It was he did. Yeah, he's got credits in there too. Right. And an awful lot of the first album was
well, modified blues covers and stuff like that that they were doing as the New Yardbirds before they even started recording. And you'll find at least half of those songs are on Led Zeppelin I.
Well, it was going to be a New Yardbirds album. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
As a matter of fact, I just saw. You guys got to look it up. You know, any of the videos for their show. Was it in Sweden? It was one of the Nordic countries: Denmark, Sweden, Norway. You know, and they did that, and they toured briefly, and on that television show appeared as the New Yardbirds, and all four of them shine, and yet it's just 2 amps and a mic plugged into the studio, sound system, and an unmiked drum and the drum set, and there's a reason why they became the hottest band of the 70s. It's because they were, well, the hottest band of the 70s.
Of the 70s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you mean that's the reason?
They were actually, you see, that's the thing. The Beatles were good musicians always. But they always you felt like they were always trying to play up to the newest sound. And they did great in a catch-up fashion, especially Harrison, who almost lost it midway through the Beatles, and then reestablished himself as a guitarist with a slide voice that didn't sound like anybody else. So he goes up there as a very underrated guitarist. But with Zeppelin, they all walked in black belts. All right.
Yeah.
They all were dangerous. Every one of them. You know? From the start. It didn't matter. There was 2 of them that were famous, and 2 of them hardly anybody had ever heard of, except for the insiders of the music industry. They were nipping at Robert's little bud, you know, and he had several prospects and possibilities going on. I think he would have gone somewhere, but when they did coalesce, Robert was still very unsure of himself, and Jimmy was even unsure of of Robert. Even after he joined, he was still unsure. Can he handle being the front man once we get to America, right? So, but there was, in the end, nothing to worry about. Robert came very well equipped. Some of the girls in the front row could tell you that, but
I was beginning to wonder what you were talking about.
He had a few chops, you know, of his own. He was I consider a very artistic lyricist, a very good, solid melody maker over the riffs that Jimmy supplied, and one of rock's preeminent vocalist while he was in his prime, and even after his prime, he was always very interesting to listen to.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Well, anyway, so back to let's see, Led Zeppelin, one of the best-selling musical artists of all time, with an estimated record sales as high as 300 million units worldwide. They achieved 8 consecutive UK #1 albums, 6 #1 albums in the US Billboard 200. And 5 of their albums are certified diamond in the U.S. by the Recording Industry Association of America, the RIAA. Okay, Rolling Stone described them as the heaviest band of all time, the biggest band in the 70s, and unquestionably one of the most enduring bands in rock history. Okay, let's see. So they basically had the, you know, they were as influential in the 70s as the Beatles were in the 60s.
Amen. Absolutely.
So, yeah, they own, Beatles own the 60s, Zeppelin owned the 70s,
and nobody has come around since to own a decade since.
Right. Right. And like I was mentioned earlier, Zeppelin II was recorded on the road. They kept all the master tapes with them, various North American studios. It was even a greater commercial success than their first album, of course, and reached the #1 chart position in the US and the UK. The album further developed their mostly blues rock musical style established on their debut releases, creating a sound that was heavy and hard, brutal and direct, and which we would be highly influential and frequently imitated. Steve Wakesman has suggested that Led Zeppelin II was the musical starting point for heavy metal. We heard that over and over again a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Black Sabbath. They kept being referred to as, heavy metal.
And we also
Led
talked
Zeppelin
about
was.
that's just a bunch of young critics trying to rewrite history.
I just thought
that little faux pas.
I thought it was like a 1-2 punch, Zeppelin and Sabbath together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what's funny, Eric Schultz put something in the chat earlier. The first album I was exposed to by Led Zeppelin, I'm a little bit younger, came to the game a little bit later, was Led Zeppelin 4, simply because of Stairway to Heaven, then we get introduced to the other songs. But then, as soon as I heard Led Zeppelin 2, that became my favorite Zeppelin album over all of them. And then it seems like everybody finds that Zeppelin album at the same age in life, somewhere between about 13 and 18. My brother, who's 7 years younger than me, he was playing it. He goes, "You got to hear this." He was like super excited. "You got to hear this. You got to hear this." I go, "What?" He goes, "It's Led Zeppelin." I go, "Yeah, those guys are great." No, it's Led Zeppelin, man. It's Led Zeppelin. He was like, but that's what's great. It's like these guys discover music, and girls too. When they discover the music for themselves and the light goes on, it's just like, it's amazing. It's just like,
Dave, we've talked about that on this panel before. Zeppelin and the Beatles are the two bands that reinvent themselves to a brand new set of teenagers every 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
And that's why they kind of reign supreme. Black Sabbath too, but usually with Black Sabbath you've got more teenage boys. But Zeppelin would attract teenage girls, or at least Zeppelin was something that if their boyfriend was into, they could listen to easier than, say, Black Sabbath.
Well, then there's no question about that. Sabbath was definitely a guy's thing as far as the music.
Yeah.
But here's another thing we haven't even brought up tonight. This album actually has a nickname, Royce. It's called the Brown Bomber.
Oh, yeah.
There are Zeppelin fans or Bomber fans of this album that say this is the only superior. Led Zeppelin 1 was good, and this is great, and everything after is crap. I don't agree with them.
No.
But I do agree with them that they had a sound and they had an approach on these first two albums. They would only do one more time, and oddly, when they did do that, the very fans that don't like these first two albums didn't like that album. And of course, I'm talking about Presence, right? Which is because those are the three albums, 1, 2, and Presence. That sounds very all the time almost, except for Candy Store Rock. All right, I concede that point. But the whole album is barbed wire, barbed wire, very prickly, right? All three of those albums, and all three of them ranked very high to me. And so tonight
like this
we're
panel.
talking about the Brown Bomber, right?
How come a lot of people don't like number 4? Like this one, I find this one.
Oh no, Johnny, I covered that last week. I absolutely love Led Zeppelin.
That's a great album. That's a great album. I was saying
I don't know anybody that doesn't like it, to be honest with you.
No, because I keep on hearing
on everybody's #1 list.
I keep on hearing some people saying that they'd rather 2 than number 4.
Well, you're hanging with the wrong people, Johnny.
they're both great. I was just saying we got introduced.
We're here just saying you, Johnny. You're in the bosom of friends.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Come to the light. It's all right here.
Also,
there you go, buddy. There you go.
I love it when you do that, Nick.
Also, Royce.
Yes.
I got that box set. right?
Caitlin.
And a lot of
Mothership.
people were saying that's not that great either. A lot of people were saying that I've heard something.
Well, a lot of people. What are they
It's
listening
great.
to? I mean,
Wonderful.
yeah, it is great. It is
Well,
great.
I've never owned it. When it came out, and I was still collecting CDs, I had all the albums. So I had other things I wanted to buy, and so I don't know, as far as an audiophile rating or anything like that. But
Yeah.
with Led Zeppelin, to me, it's not so much the audiophile experience as
No,
the buzz, the energy. The willingness of Jimmy Page to work himself into the corner and show you he can work himself right back out of it, as trickily as he got himself into it.
Michael, that's exactly right. That's how I feel too. I'm
Right, so
I'm
if
not.
you've got that, Johnny, and it sounds decent to your ears, rock on, brother. And if you don't want it, send it my way. I'll take it.
Yeah. I could use a second one.
Right.
But I'll tell you, I feel the same way. I don't run out and buy the high end. As we all found out, all of this so-called stuff being made from the original analog recordings mostly was actually digital, and those people are actually starting to pay back people now as a settlement, giving people their money back. So I'm actually really glad I never got into that. But I've never had any I have had don't get me wrong, I have had a couple of bad albums, that were really, really noticeably bad. And I've had a couple of CDs, some of these off brands that are giving you a compilation that were horrible.
Or anything released between, say, 95 and 2005. The loudness wars. They would take great sounding albums and crunch it into a bandwidth this thick, expand it to the edges of the soundscape, and it sounded horrible.
Yeah, Mike.
No dynamics.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just want to say, James Watson, the Rolling Stones, said something nice about them. Yeah, the Rolling Stones I love the Rolling Stones. They're always way at the tip top for me. But I want
to. Richards didn't like him, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah. Nick, you're like the 4th of July every time you're here.
Do it again, Daddy.
I gotta do one thing. I gotta give a shout out to my dear friend Caitlin Stoddard. And Caitlin and I go back a long ways, as I mentioned earlier. She has a show. I'm usually at work. I haven't been able to watch it the last few weeks. I've been working all day long in a noisy construction environment. But I love
okay,
Caitlin's
Royce.
show.
I've been there to rep us both.
Okay, thank you.
Most of the time.
Okay, that's your job from here on out.
Hey, Caitlin, just real quick thanks for your support today earlier on the stream. I appreciate it, sister.
But I just want to recommend that everybody go check out Caitlin's Magical Corner. Caitlin Stoddard, Caitlin's Magical Corner.
I'm subscribed.
Her show is a lot of fun, and I mean, there's a lot of people there in the chat too. I gotta figure out how
real loyal. Both James and her have a real hard line, loyal group of people who are not shy of sharing their ideas and everything.
Yeah,
I that's why I participate. It's like having a chat with friends most of the time.
Right. Yeah. Hey, we've been joined by our friend Gringo Pines. Hi, Royce. Zeppelin rocks. You too, brother. Peace. Thank you, Gringo. You rock, my man. You rock.
Yeah.
Look at the
now you're just
thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here. And
that would surprise me.
And, my latest subscriber, Chris here. Thank you so much, brother. Yeah, we have we're always looking for subscribers. Doesn't cost anything to subscribe. But for anybody ever wants to give the show a little extra support, we do have a membership that you can join.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Anyway, not a big thing, but Caitlin, hi, Gringo. Caitlin, check out Caitlin's Magical Corner. I agree with
Paul from Psycho is in the chat.
Psycho Platters is in the chat.
Yeah, he's in the chat. He needs to get his ass up here.
Hey. What's up, Paul?
Well, let me scroll. I'm so far behind. Let me work my way down and find him here.
I mean, he needs to
Hey,
place his
we've got
duty
Mike
on the
Valentine
band.
here too. Zeppelin reaction videos are my favorite. Yeah, that's one of my hashtags on this show. Led Zeppelin reaction videos. Eric Schultz, Michael, I don't know. Let me see. Let me read it over here. I don't know if you want to go there, but Rolling Stone magazine totally gave Led Zeppelin bad reviews until their
Yep.
fourth album, just
Yep.
like a reviewer was ordered to give Ram a bad review. Well, I read the same thing this morning about all of the early Paul McCartney solo stuff. It all got bad reviews. I think until they hit Band on the Run.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if anybody's ever seen the movie Almost Famous, the band Sweetwater in there is actually supposed to be a conglomeration of the Allman Brothers and Led Zeppelin. That whole story is around that. And you're absolutely right. Was it Eric that said that? You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And the only reason, brother, that they even got a good review for 4 was because of its phenomenal success. I mean, 4 was such an increase in sales for them that every mom, pop,
Right.
and sister and brother had a copy of it, and it would have been at that point. See, they were already known as a magazine that was embarrassing itself by towing the Jan Winter line. Whoever was Jan Winter's personal heroes and or friends got a pass, and anybody he thought that wasn't rock and roll. The same Jan Winter that years later would say black rock and rollers and women rock and rollers, by the way, to Dave Pounds, aren't articulate. You never heard anything like that from me.
Hey, Michael,
right?
Let me break in here for just a second.
Yeah.
Zepp Pearl Vance, Zepp Pearl, one of the biggest Led Zeppelin fans on the face of the earth. Hey, please join us. I put a link up. I'm going to put it up again.
If Vance says it, the man has good ears. He knows what he's talking.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and here you go, Johnny. There's nothing wrong with Mothership, and Vance is an expert. He knows, okay?
Don't listen to him, Johnny. Send that album to me. You don't want that.
Well, not to get sidetracked, but we were talking about Jimmy Page and a couple of people that know how to play a guitar. You want to zoom in on that there, Royce?
Let's see.
Couple of
okay, where's it? Whose comment was this? Oh, I'm sorry.
Anybody recognize that?
Excuse me. Not only do I recognize it, I have a copy of it.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes, it is.
I just recently found it. I was not familiar with it. Always learning. Right?
I wasn't until I found it either. That happens to me all the time.
I'm not familiar with it, Nick. Tell us about it. What is this?
Well, I just found it. It's called the Guitar Boogie, and it's Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page playing a bunch of awesome music.
I will caution you, not necessarily all at once.
No. But there's different songs, but the back is so interesting, and what they talk about in their flavors of playing the guitar and where it comes from, and they name some names, T-Bone Walker, Freddie King, Albert King, Sleepy John Estes, Charles Christian, D'Angelo Reinhardt, Robert Johnson, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Blind Willie, McTell, Tal Farlow, Maurice Ravel, and many more. These are who they were getting their flavors from. They were learning from them and then translating it into their own style. And just it gives a little background history on the 3 guitars themselves, and some stories about them.
That's a great album. I love it when I come across something like that.
Nick, you just read the list of the progenitors of rock and roll.
Yeah. A corner edge of it, because there's so many more. But absolutely.
Can you believe
absolutely?
I finally got to Psycho's Platter's name. That's how far behind I was on the chat.
Wow.
And Psycho, I have I have multiple links up, but I'm going to put another one right now.
All of
And
those
Zepp
artists
Pearl,
that
I
he
know
just
you.
read, they are
Yes.
our forefathers.
No, they
know?
are.
Uh,
Well, yeah, and Freddie and Albert King. I mean, they're like blues gods.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. If their last name's King, you can count on great music.
I know they may not any of them be related, but for some reason,
Right. Absolutely.
The blues is strong in them.
Yes.
And
Well,
tell me,
I appreciate you showing
tell
that
me,
one.
not all one of them, every one of them didn't worship Robert Johnson.
Oh,
You
Oh,
know?
absolutely.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
made a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's Robert Johnson. If you could say anything critical about his guitar playing, it was very loose, right? But that looseness is the bedrock of a good band that can keep perfect timing and yet sound like they're kind of sloppy at the same time. It's a fine line to hold, but the best bands, and Zeppelin is one of them, can ride that fine line. Where they sound almost sloppy.
Yeah.
But then when you count it off, oh no, they're in 7/8 time here and slipping in 4/4. Oh, I see what they're doing.
Yeah,
You know?
it's not sloppy.
Absolutely.
It's like ahead of most of us. Anyway, we've been joined by the one, the only, the magnificent
Hey, Paul.
Paul Psychos Platters. What a
hi.
great and growing and popular show he has. Check him out, everybody.
It's
Psychos
because of you
Platters.
guys. It has nothing to do with me. It is all you guys.
There it
out.
is. Psychos Platters right there.
We love you, Paul.
I was
And
in
I
the
love you
gallery
guys too.
earlier, Paul.
Yes, we
Always
do.
good to
Yes,
have you
we
up here,
do.
brother.
Your
Always
show's
good to
doing
have you.
great. Totally happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's got a
Henry
regular
Trails,
crew up there now, Royce.
Oh yeah,
He's got
he's got
Melody.
Melody up there playing the guitar. Beetle Babe, yeah. Even Nolan's in there once in a while.
Oh, I'll stop in and say hi occasionally. Yes.
Oh no,
Yep.
I want to. I haven't been able to.
It's nice and fluid. I love it.
Fluid, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a good crew assembled there.
And his last
So do you.
that I saw, we got to see Billiam meltdown. I even nailed it in the comments. I saw when he came back up, I saw that face and I wrote out, "Here we go."
I watched the replay of that a little bit, but I didn't see any meltdown stuff.
The boy just will not learn, Royce. He just will not.
He'll
learn.
be all right.
He has some talent. He has some talent if he could just get away from his perceived demons and just get on with the show. Nobody out in my part of that stream knew of these messages that were pissing him off. It's a total lack of professionalism in my point. But Paul, you always save your stream, and you did well. And you weather us nuts when we come up real well. I appreciate that. Because I'm just as nutty as Billiam. All right, I admit it. In my own quirky sort of way. But
hey,
and that's why we do so well.
Call him that. That's disrespectful. His name is William.
Right.
I'm sorry, William. You have talent. You have a presence that could work for you, and you're wasting your time caring about all the sundry matters, and you will grow when you realize that.
Yep.
His knowledge of hip hop is excellent.
I think he's a talented guy, and I love soul. I even like rap. Yeah. And I have a pretty decent sized rap video library on my iTunes.
Well, we forgive you for liking rap.
I'm still on the fence.
So Royce, this is for Music Sanctuary. This is a 2007 reissue.
Yeah.
This is one of the most beautiful box sets I've ever seen in my entire life.
It really is. It really is. You know what? I'm gonna grab my camera and point it back in that corner.
And it comes with.
Okay.
You know what it comes with, like with
it's like well packaged
folder and all that, and every album comes with like each artist.
Yes.
This record is out. Is Robert Plant? It's with the face of Robert Plant. The other one is with the
Right. That's Robert Plant's Feather in the
stuff.
Circle.
People know what I'm talking about. I don't have to go.
No. Those are the four symbols. One of the three names you can use for Led Zeppelin IV, the self-titled album.
It's a beautiful box set.
Yeah, it's a beautiful box. You know what it reminds me of? I have Jimi Hendrix Live in Maui, not the single album you'll see right now for sale at Walmart, but this is the triple album with the Blu-ray DVD, where they were also trying to film the one movie, Bridges to something. I can't remember.
Rainbow Bridge?
Rainbow Bridge. Thank you, man. I must be getting old or something. But anyway, they tried filming that and some other stuff, some of the concert stuff there. I was a little disappointed in the Blu-ray DVD. It wasn't really that great. But those nice heavy covers that you have on that album, that he has that on his albums.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice.
I have no regrets. No regrets getting this. Absolutely.
I'd like to hear how high, what number between 1 and 9 out of their studio albums is not only the panels but the peanut gallery. What number is Led Zeppelin II for you guys? How high do you rank this album we're discussing tonight?
Well, how high? Okay. I would, there's,
like
that's
even the obelisk.
Is it your second or third favorite? That's what I'm talking about.
I understand. They're
all masterpieces.
They're all, right? Michael, that's, you're hitting the nail on the head when you say that.
Make me small now.
I am. Okay. because the truth is, every time I sit down and talk about this, it changes a little bit. Right. I tell you, it was the last couple of weeks I was liking 1 and 2 more than anything, to be perfectly honest with you.
Right.
But I did call, but to show you how fickle that is, last week I called 4 my number 1.
Right.
So, but you know what I would have to stick with 4 right now, and that ask me again in a month. And
but where would 2 line up right now?
Right now. Yeah. I would probably put 2, 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Because I know lots of Zepp fans that'll name 1 and 2 as their number 1 and number 2 albums.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah. What about you, Dave?
I'm gonna go with number 2 being my favorite out of Led Zeppelin.
I think you said that before. That's why I asked you. Yeah. See, it's got a fan base. This album has a fan base. Nick?
I'm with Royce.
Yeah? Number 3 for you?
Yeah, have to be.
Wow. Paul?
Well, here's the problem. Trying to rate something is hard, but I can say this. In the top 3 of Zeppelin for me is 1, 2, and Physical Graffiti, and it interchanges all the time. Now, Zepp 4 used to also be there too, but there was quite a while back in the day that album always seemed to be on my turntable. If it wasn't me, it was somebody else putting it on the turntable, and it's burnout. And I'm like, take that ding, put it back in the ding. I don't want to hear it for a year.
Well, like I said, I got 1, 2, and 3 in high school. 1 and 2 and 69, 3 and 70. And I don't know anyone that could have listened to those more than I did. So I understand. I totally get what you're saying.
And I'm a latecomer.
There's too many Zeppelin fans that would argue that they've gone cold on 4 at one time, in their listening experience. But what about you, Johnny? I think you may have already mentioned your favorite.
Okay, I like 4, but I'm just wondering.
But what about 2? How high does it rank for you?
Which one? 2?
Whole Lotta Love. Yeah.
I only heard 2 on YouTube. I don't have 2 as an album. I have number 3. I don't know. I
have to make a correction.
I'm a number 4 guy. Number 4, I think.
Yeah, I got to make a correction. I got them backwards. 4 and then 3.
4 and
Four,
then 3.
and then
then
2.
3.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I just quick comment here. Vinyl Richie, good to see you in the chat, my brother. I just put a link up. You're welcome to hop on and talk a little Led Zeppelin to our heads if you'd like to. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good to see you here, man. Good to see you here.
Hey, Paul.
Any given day, like I said last week.
Paul mentioned something about they were. He always had 4 on his platter, or whatever. And I'm thinking, is it because maybe some people are shipped away from number 4 because it was played too often and they were getting sick of listening?
I think so.
I'll tell you, I don't know about anybody else's radio stations of choice in regards to classic rock, which most radio, no offense today, is garbage. But they play the same 3 to 4 Zeppelin songs. And don't get me wrong, I'm just so sick of hearing them because it's like they keep drilling. I'm yelling at the radio going, there's 9 fucking studio albums. Will you get off of the same 3? And so they used to have a show called Get the Lead Out, here in the local area. And so if your name got picked, you won I can't even remember what I won. So I went off and I'm like, okay, well, these other people seriously were going in same pretty direction, right? So I'm like, all right. Chester P was the guy that would do this. Rest in peace. He's been gone a couple of years now. And I called in and I said, hey, Chester, it's Paul. And he goes, oh, hey. And I'm like, Out on the Tiles. I said, Out on the Tiles. The Wonton song and In the Evening. And he's like, all right. He goes, I never get any. And he goes, you got it. And of course, I heard later that people were giving him shit. I'm like, well, you said anything.
You know what, Paul? Dan. I live in the Big Valley of California, and on our radio station at 7 o'clock, that's exactly what it's called. Get the Lead Out, and I'll tell you, any other time of day, this station is guilty of exactly what you're talking about. But for some reason, maybe it's because of a more local control of the disc jockeys, they play almost anything from Led Zeppelin, and it's every night. Nice. And I think they do 3 or 4 Led Zeppelin cuts in a row, no commercials. But,
right, same here.
And wow, I always try and find a good reason to be out doing chores that require me driving the truck around 7 o'clock. That's always a pleasant experience.
Exactly. Right. And for many, many years, they even had, I think it was like 10 o'clock at night, they would have the Grateful Dead hour. And I would just be like, oh, right. I'm like, who else? Nobody else was playing the damn Dead.
Right. Yeah.
Unless it was Touch of Grey. That's it. Right. And I'm going, oh, no. It would be live in studio. And I'm like, yes. I was like wallowing in its own crap.
Hey, Dan Goucher, thanks for the compliment. Yeah, I am kind of fly now that you mention
it. I gave up on over-the-air radio. Just gave up on it. I'm in the car for such little time that I'll either stream somebody's stream from YouTube while I'm driving in, or I rarely listen to music in the car anymore. It just, I'm not in it long enough. Now, when I was going, once a month, I would drive south. That was an hour and a half. I would set up some music on my phone and listen to that.
Right.
But over the air, I just got tired. It's like TV. Commercials. Even if it's a good show, I'm sorry, I don't do commercials. This world is too short to waste your time on what they're trying to sell you.
Well, that's when I always switch to another alternative station,
But they have them synced. Yeah. They figured that out.
Yeah.
And when you go to that other station, there's a commercial on. So don't even bother.
You're more often right than wrong on that.
I time shift most.
Yeah.
I'll just shift to a college station. We got a couple of them down here, and I'll just all right, I'll go to KUAF instead.
You know,
Yeah.
Dan, we haven't really done a show on Into the Outdoor yet, but I'm going to. One of the funny things that came up, I did a little short pre-recorded video last week when Elvis Presley and Led Zeppelin met. You know, King of Rock and the Gods of Rock met. It was a fun little video. I think it was 8 or 9 minutes long.
Yeah.
But you know, when Elvis was when Led Zeppelin left, they were walking down the hallway. It was after an Elvis performance. You know, he had a huge suite, and they were invited up because they both had the same promotion company. Well, they set up all their tours. Elvis's tours, Led Zeppelin tours. The same company set them up, so they got them backstage with Elvis and concert tickets. And anyway, so they were all leaving, heading for the elevator, and Elvis swung around the door frame and he goes, "Hey, Robert!" And he started singing a song to Robert, and Robert started singing it back, and they were trading verses, and they were all crying.
Hey, you know what, Royce?
Elvis and Led Zeppelin.
We've gotten 2 votes for the, you know, who's the #1 album? One from Foxo Chaka, Led Zeppelin #1 for me. And then was it Eric or who was it? Dr.
Rick?
It may have been Dr. Rick. Yeah, Zepp 2 is my second or third favorite album. So for Dr. Rick, tonight's album
cool.
is quite high on his list, as with the panel. It's not that high for me. It's not that high for me, but once again, I plead innocent by reason of the fact that Led Zeppelin put out, you know, 9 classic masterpieces. So what edges it out is usually because of their growth as songwriters from that point, and their accomplishments in the studio from that point. So, but I still, you know, this was the 4th album I bought. Royce knows I've just been starting vinyl. He forced me into it, folks. It wasn't.
I forced you. And there's no way I could sit by and watch you just stream. You know what I'm saying?
Oh Lord! Yeah,
I mean, we're adults here.
Like I said, Royce is a year older than me, and he's the boss. But you know, it was one of the first albums that I wanted to get. So you know, and like, even though I would probably rank it at #6, as low as 6, maybe 5, emotionally, it's almost where Jane, who was it that just said Foxo Chaka said regarding Led Zeppelin 1 for me? Emotionally, Led Zeppelin 1 is my favorite album too, because
that's a good point. Dr. Rick just echoed what I said earlier, putting 2 at either 2nd or 3rd spot. You know,
right. Yeah, see, but you know, such a rich field to choose from, because when you say, well, Led Zeppelin 2 is this high, and then I know a lot of people will go Presence is an easy picking, and In Through the Outdoor is an easy picking, being their weakest albums, usually on everybody's list.
Right.
And In Through the Outdoor is my, I think there's, if you choose, you know, Coda, it's their 2nd weakest album. If you don't choose Coda, it's their weakest album, but still a masterpiece. I almost feel like it's a Robert Plant and John Paul Jones solo album with Jimmy and Bonzo showing up as sidemen, because they were so out of it at that point in their life due to drugs and alcohol.
I can see your point definitely on that one.
I would even place Presence for, and I've already compared Presence to 1 and 2, right? I would place Presence as a recording and a totality of barbed wire Led Zeppelin songs slightly above 1 and 2 in my mind. Emotionally, one goes right past 4. You know,
well, I've got to
would be my general pick with a special mention to Houses of the Holy. If you're going to consider the best produced
Yeah,
Led
I'm
Zeppelin
gonna have
album,
to.
that would be number one. So
I'm gonna have
there
to
you
get
go.
presents out tomorrow after work and listen to it a couple of times because I would put 1 and 2 way over presents. And now I
Most
just want,
people would, Royce.
well, okay, I just want to finish what I was saying. I didn't bring up that little show about Led Zeppelin meeting Elvis and them getting together for an hour and a half in Elvis's hotel room to promote the show so much. When part of my show was what song of Led Zeppelin's sounds the most like a song of Elvis? Because Jimmy Page, when they were all meeting in the room, Jimmy Page goes, "Well, we don't do sound checks that often, but when we do, all we want to do is sing Elvis." Elvis thought that was pretty damn funny. But anyway, so what happened was the song that sounds most like an Elvis song is "Hot Dog" on Into the Outdoor. And I didn't realize I was going to be talking about this a couple of months ago when I was listening through Into the Outdoor, and Jimmy Page kept imitating Elvis's voice. I'm like, what? It was, and I was singing in Elvis's voice on that little show that I did too. and Robert Plant, not Jimmy Page. I'm sorry.
He was watching you.
But anyway, and that whole thing just kind of tied that whole show together for me. I really enjoyed it. So anyway, yeah, Led Zeppelin's really tricky, and I imagine, Michael, you've probably changed favorite Beatles albums, maybe even favorite Beatles artists over the years too.
Well, like I said, there's always my current list of what I'm listening to this year, this month, this week.
Yeah, right. What I'm listening to now.
48 hours, right? But I also have this ability in my mind to stand away from the bands that I like, and it's just the way I think, folks. I'm a list maker. I'm not dyslexic, but I am what you call it. I'm a what's the diagnosis, babe? That I'm trying to remember. Anyway, most people would say I have a learning disability. And I don't. I just learned to think. I found out all by myself before they had a diagnosis for it, and I just can't think of it right now. It's a hot diagnosis, but I learned to train my brain to be as stupid as the teachers were when I went to school, because most 90% of people learn a certain way, and 90% of teachers, depending on how good or bad they are, the way they teach is fine, and then some people need counseling help or whatever. And my mom taught me how to read and write by the time I was 5. So I learned to read the assignment and make it make sense in my brain. And when I did that, I was successful as anybody else in school. So I retrained myself, not expecting the school to make up for poor dumb me, right? So when I listen to anything, there's lists involved, and I list everything. So I can stand back from a band and go, in general, this is what I think, right? That's it.
Well, yeah, no, I hear you. We all had our own ways of trying to get through it all, especially those of us. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to make 2 quick points. Number one, I agree with Eric on any given day, and that's the point. It's an unfair question. What's your favorite at this? It have to be with the premise at this particular time,
and that's
it's always myself. A moving target. Yeah, always. It's like, because it's not that. Yeah, it is. It's too hard. If you were to stop the world at this point, you could mark it. But if you were to go over the course of a week, a month, a year, a decade, you might start developing a pattern of which you listen to or enjoy the most. Right, but I don't know if you'd ever actually come out with a solid winner of which one is which.
It's really hard. I mean, in the last couple of days, I've listened to Led Zeppelin I, Led Zeppelin II, Led Zeppelin IV. I had big plans to listen to a couple more, and I never got to them, but other things got in the way.
That's also the other variable. The other variable is there's so much other music to listen to.
That's true, Nick.
That gets in the way. So it's like this weekend, I listen to a lot of music. I rarely get to do that, but I listen to a lot of music. But I could fairly say that 5 of the albums were from the ZZ Top box set that just came out.
Well, so, I want to introduce our newest guest, and that is Vinyl Richie. How you doing, Richie?
Hey, Richie.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Thanks for joining us. Are you a big Led Zeppelin fan?
Well, I have all their albums except for Led Zeppelin III. I haven't tracked that one down yet. But yeah,
gotcha.
I bought Led Zeppelin II when it came out, and it kind of, for me, it was a game changer. Just the heaviness of it. Now, if I had heard the first one,
same with me.
If I had heard the first one when it came out, I heard the second one first. It probably would have been the same deal. But Led Zeppelin II is my favorite Led Zeppelin because of that.
I love that album. It was 1969. I was in high school, and I didn't know who Led Zeppelin was until a whole lot of love came out on Led Zeppelin 2. I didn't know about Led Zeppelin 1, and that happened, I think, with so many people.
I was lucky. I got to see them twice. I saw them in '73.
Wow.
On the Houses of the Holy tour.
Wow.
And it turns out Norman Masloff was at that same show because my cousin, we went up to San Francisco to go see him. And then I saw him at the LA Forum for the Physical Graffiti tour.
So, wow, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm really jealous because I never got to see them, and I don't understand why they were playing all around me. Foxachaka, how are you?
Well, I paid to see them, had my tickets, and
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
son died.
They bailed on you,
and that was my last chance to see him. So I'm jealous, Richie. I'm really jealous.
Oh man, I'll tell you, me too.
They were really good.
I had a similar story as you, Michael. I never saw them either.
And I'm watching the Rams Detroit game, so it was like I had it pre-recorded, so I don't have I can just fast forward through the commercials. But when halftime came on, I started watching you guys, and I thought I'm gonna pop up.
Great, appreciate it.
In the car, I don't listen to music that much. I guess I'm an old fart. I listen to more talk radio now than I do.
There you go. Me too.
Oh, do you?
I'm only in the car for 12 minutes at a time, so.
Wow.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of sports talk radio.
Sports talk radio. Yeah, that's good stuff. You must have Sirius XM and stuff. I don't have that anymore. I had it in all my vehicles for a while. I don't have it in anything right now. They keep trying to entice me back. But, they'll entice you by giving it to you for next to nothing for 6 months. Then it kicks in at, 5 times that, and you never cancel it in time. It's like those Columbia tape clubs,
BMP.
I gotta go, you guys.
All right.
Okay.
See you later.
Thanks for jumping on, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Man.
All right.
Good see you.
See you later.
Michael disappeared.
Earlier when you were talking about Elvis and Led Zeppelin, I can't help it, but the first thing that popped into my mind was there is a group, you might have heard of them, called Dread Zeppelin. They had an Elvis impersonator singing. They're doing Led Zeppelin covers in a reggae dub style.
Tortelvis. Tortelvis. That's that.
Tortelvis. That's right. Tortelvis.
Yeah.
Thank you. Make me small. It was just amazing things people do. Yeah.
God.
Oh, Dread Zeppelin.
Yeah,
okay.
Dread
I wasn't even reading the chat. Thank you, Chris.
MTV.
Well, I'm so damn far behind the chat. I must be like, I'm still pulling up links I put up 10 minutes ago. Yeah. Foxachaka, how are you tonight? It counts for Led Zeppelin 1 was a monumental first step that changed my world. Yeah. Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 changed my world too.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And the spotlight is on Dave.
Okay, you're trying to get off the spotlight. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Nobody wants to be left on when they're done talking.
The comment you guys made about it depends what kind of frame of mind you are when you're listening to the music, which one's the better one.
Yep.
That's right.
Maybe that's kind of true. I like 4. I really do like 4. But it's like the Beatles. Well, I'll listen to the Beatles, and I'll listen to one track, and then I'll listen to another track, and then I'll like that track better than that track. But then when I go back later on and I listen to it stuff again and listen to it again, I like the other track.
Right.
It's like,
Well, you know what? That's it. All of that good stuff is a moving target. Yeah. Every time. I mean, I used to love Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I was 15 years old, and my older brother, 9 years my senior, he was a craps dealer out in Vegas, him and his roommate, and we'd hitchhike out to his house, me and my friends from Henderson, Nevada, and we'd go out there and sit around and partake in a couple of things, and we'd listen to Sgt. Pepper's or the Cream, and then Magical Mystery Tour came out. And I had kind of gotten away from the Beatles because there was, more heavier stuff had come out by, 69, that era, 68, 69. I'd kind of, the Beatles had become diminished to me. They weren't a favorite anymore. But when Sgt. Pepper's hit, I love that album. And I still have my brother's copy of it, as well as another one that I found. And that album just... it brings back so many memories, hitchhiking to Las Vegas and hanging out with my older brother, who passed away in his later 40s. I think he was 49. And so it was, those were really good memories. And I remember when he later got married again, and him and his wife went to see Elvis. And I kicked myself because if I would have asked, he would have taken me to see Elvis with him. And that was the second residency where every single show was completely sold out.
Wow.
Yeah. The first one, it was a very conservative audience in the late 50s. And the way Elvis got up there, they thought it was too sexual. They didn't like it. And the first residency just didn't go over well. But the second one, times had changed and everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Elvis was always a part of our lives back then. I mean, I have dinner ready, brother, but I'm in the gallery. Okay, Michael. Thanks for being here. And you sounded just fine. You sounded good. Michael's been having trouble. StreamYard's made a couple of changes, and he feels like his voice. A couple of weeks ago, it was getting higher and lower and stuff like that. He was going to stop coming on anybody's shows, because he just didn't like that. It was bothering him a lot. But I thought he sounded good tonight, and not bad at all last week too.
Hey, Michael, the love sees over that.
It's
nothing to it.
Michael's voice was a little low. Now I don't know what I had the headphones and I was trying to hear what he was saying. He was a little low, but maybe it's because I'm an old fart and it's my hearing going.
I think that could be a big part of it.
Because I feel I'm like that especially when I'm told you have to take the garbage out. What? I can't hear it.
Yeah, my wife says I have very selective hearing, but she's always talked so low. Driving in the car today, and she goes, "No point talking to you." I'm like, "Huh?" And I was actually really trying to not miss anything, and I didn't hear a word she said.
Same thing watching TV. We went to a binge thing with The Sopranos. Second time we watched it over again, and I'm saying to my wife, the first time I was younger, it was back in the early 2000s, so my hearing was. But now I say to her, like, you want to turn it up a bit? Like it's like a 15 or 16. How high do you want it?
Hey, I love this comment by Eric Schultz. When I'm done, when you're doing any construction work, you can see the Beatles fixing a hole. And I just bid on an insurance job. I bid on an insurance job where an oak tree in this guy's front yard broke through the roof and broke through the ceiling below. And I'm just waiting to hear if I'm going to be doing it or not, because the insurance company, they go through their little rate book and they give you $1.50 for doing this and $7 for putting that piece of baseboard. That's bullshit. So I had to list the insurance company's prices for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my prices, and there was like a really big difference. So
yeah, they never come close to each other.
They never come close. And I've been through this multiple times. There was a time when I gave this guy a $13,000 bid on this insurance job. He had a leak. The casualty guys come in, ripped all the cabinets away from the walls, busted all the tile, cut the drywall behind the cabinets where the leak was, aired everything out, dried everything out, and they sent him a check for $6,000. And so I gave him my price. It was $13,000. He goes, "Oh no, I've already tried to negotiate. They're only going to give me $6,000." I called that insurance guy and I argued, and he sent him another $6,000. So I wound up doing it for $12,000.
It's like, hey, buddy, just because he took out the insurance policy in 1960 doesn't mean you pay him in those dollars. Okay?
Exactly.
The world's changed a little bit since then.
The world's changed a lot.
Yeah, they don't want to have to give any more than they have to. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see how that turns out. The owner of the house said, "Hey, they told me they were going to give me an entire new roof on this one side, not just patch it in over here with the holes."
What? On this one side?
One side, yeah.
I don't think so.
And so I looked at the bid, and all they were going to do is give him that, a sheet of plywood's worth of new shingles. So I had to. I threw an alternate in for doing the whole one side.
Can't you just recycle the shingles and the nails and maybe some pieces of wood? No.
Yeah,
that's the joy of having.
Well, I thought the black plastic on the front of the house was looking pretty good.
That's the joy of having construction business. My brother had a plumbing business, and they tried to undercut him, like when he was putting a bid in for a plumbing job to insurance companies and stuff. So it's that you have to face that when you got these, you're working with these companies, as an owner or something.
What is wrong with your mic?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Your voice gets real loud.
Yeah, your mic
is
you are speaking like this, and is just barely, and you come in and you go.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm moving around too much. Oh, that's
your mic is very directional. If you're not speaking right into it, you disappear almost.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, I'm glad to know that, because I have a PC Mini now, right? I just got, and it's just about this big, and it's a PC.
Yeah, do you have an external mic?
I have, it's I have a Yeti. I'm using the Yeti, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's plugged into the USB.
Well, the USB, you probably need to adjust something on it.
I have.
Look at me. It's like this. It's as if you're going like this. See, Mike? It's like you're going like this, and then you're good. We can hear you, and then you can barely hear you.
Yeah,
and then you're really good. Am I right, guys? I'm really saying that so you know.
Yeah,
I haven't
started
hooked up
to say it right before you did, Nick. I have
it hooked up to Logitech G Hub. It's a hub that that's for Yeti.
Right, I'm using a G Hub.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe
you have to update it so often. Yeah, I'm using that for my camera.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. How's that?
Eric Schultz.
You sound great. I didn't mean to disturb your train of thought. It was just we were losing a word or two, and then you were coming in clear.
Yeah, I mean, it was dramatic, very loud, and then very quiet.
Yeah.
And loud, it popped back up. Yeah.
Oh, that's because Canada, we're China done now, so they're limiting us on bandwidth and all.
Hey.
I thought he was doing it for effect. I thought that was just.
No. And he's been doing it since you came on, and then finally I said, I've had enough of this shit.
If it's a good effect, well then I'll keep on doing that. No. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for telling me that, though.
Yes, sir. But you were saying, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I did.
I can't remember what I was saying now.
We're all old. None of us probably going to remember.
All right, I'll check that out.
But So
Okay,
now that
Daniel's got a comment here. The lady that shines white light in Led Zeppelin 4, Stairway to Heaven, is in the book of Daniel 12:3-1. No, she told me the blue light I shine in is the Bible. Told me the blue light. Huh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard anything like that before.
yeah, Michael, absolutely. Oh, he's too much. I love him.
I know. He's great. Apologize,
Yep.
Canada.
I just turned the
that was my problem.
off too, because this is for Bluetooth, and so I turned Bluetooth off. I don't know what that'll be.
Still happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll have to check that out then. Geez, I'm glad you told me too, because I do a show on a Do-Up Cafe, and I'm hoping,
you don't want that.
I'm gonna have to find out with them if it's the same thing.
Now, see, I was really paying attention, Johnny. You weren't moving in or out or all. You hadn't moved when it went down and came back up.
Yeah.
Huh. So
is the wire loose on your?
No, it's.
I don't know. It's rather strange.
All on it's on USB. So.
USB's fine. Yeah, USB should be fine. It's just a connection.
Yeah, I'll have to play around with it.
Yep.
But thanks anyways. I appreciate that.
It's been a while since I've seen you. Good to see you.
Caitlin's commenting on Michael's comment.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I got to deal with a quick call. Everyone have a good night. Okay, Paul, Cycles Platter, thanks for joining us, brother. Always appreciate it.
Jeez. Now I feel like a schmuck here. I'm telling Michael his microphone was too low in there. Mine sounds.
That's what popped.
I'm sure he appreciated it though. So
that's what popped into my mind as soon as you started fading.
I take it back, Michael. It sounds great.
We could get Michael out. Yes, Michael was referring to a guitar string. Thank you. The note of G.
Oh, G string.
Sure he was.
Yeah. The G string. Sure. Yeah. Okay, Michael.
Well, that G string gets out of tune so fast.
It does. Honestly, it does.
Yeah, no, I know.
Because I read it really fast, and I thought it said, "I wear a G string." I'm not sure. But
Me and a G string munching Stone's finest is a bit disturbing. Yeah, I won't even be able to sleep tonight now.
I know. Holy crap! That's really.
I'm so disturbed.
Well.
Yeah, Eric.
I think half of us were born that way.
No shit. Well, I think the show's starting to degrade now. So
yeah, really.
I'll tell you what. I've taken a few albums and run them through my humming guru, and they were rather noisy, and I was depressed because I thought they were beyond repair. And I ran them through with chemical, and then I rinsed them, and they sound great. I was
really?
Wow. Yeah, I was. Wow. I was surprised they came that far back.
That far back. So, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, because they seem pretty much gone. You know, so much noise.
What kind of a cleaner? What kind of a cleaner do you have?
It's couldn't tell you the name of it. It's one. The chemical helps attach to the record. It's I could look it up. Let's see, Patrick. Patrick gave me his recipe.
Years ago, I came up with my own Royce's Magic Vinyl.
No, it actually it's the same thing that the archivists use.
And Patrick, yeah. No, I make mine in a bigger bottle like that, and then pour it into a spray bottle, and I just set my albums down on a soft pan.
Right. No, I just
run my and just work them with elbow grease. It seems to work okay, but I haven't been able to bring anything back like what you're saying.
Yeah.
For my band records, if the Humming Guru Ultrasonic Waves doesn't get it, then I take it to my Okinoki, which is a vacuum device, and I use a goat's hair brush, and I use Ilfotol, Ilfotol, plus tergicline, and specific amounts.
Okay.
And yeah, and then
I use one of those study baker things that I bought, like the yellow one.
Hmm.
You put the water in and you turn it yourself.
oh, okay, yeah, manual, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
When you
how's my mic doing on it? Because I think I
you
changed.
sound better.
Yeah, it is better. Yeah.
Hey,
Well, keep talking.
How's check? Hi, how you doing there? How's it now? Is it okay? Because I changed something in my
Okay.
setting.
No, it's still
No,
fluctuating.
it just popped down and up again.
Yeah. It
Okay,
was
I'll have
good.
to
Yeah,
check that out.
that's why I said wait before you give him the all's good. It's not.
So Michael Nolan says him and Dave Pounds are in the running for next week's cover shot, Eric.
Come on, we got to sleep tonight, man.
When you said
pictures in our
when you said it had an okie dokie record clean, I was imagining something like with cotton or copper tubing and never mind.
right, Okie
But still,
Nokie. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the name brand. But all it is a vacuum machine, and I like Royce does. I spray it on, scrub it as it turns with the goat's hair brush, and vacuum it up, and then I spray on distilled water to get rid of the chemical. Scrub it again, and then vacuum it up again. Flip it over, then put them in the rack to dry, and then I'll throw them back in the Humming Guru, and that'll wash them again and dry them. And if that method doesn't bring it back, it's pretty much not coming back.
Wow. Well, Dr.
But
Rich
usually-
asking me what's in my cleaning fluid, and I have a mix of distilled water, rubbing alcohol, and a couple of drops of a dishwasher release compound, all mixed together. Rubbing alcohol, distilled water, and a couple of drops of dishwasher release compound.
Yeah, I used to do it. I used to do it by hand with soap and water, and those the stuff you paint. You got this one that goes on an edger type thing.
Yes. Yeah.
A small edger. I used to use an edger and just do it that way until I got this other thing for Christmas, which I like this thing better anyway. But I couldn't afford one of those Humming Guru things. They're expensive.
Kind of expensive. So you have like
well,
a spin
actually,
clean?
they've gotten more.
Yeah, it's
expensive.
like a spin clean. It looks like it's basically the same idea.
The Humming Guru, I got it when it was $350 directly from overseas.
Wow. You got a good deal.
And it only took about 8 days to get here, and their support has been incredible. And now they've come out with one that has more sonic blasters and stuff. It's twice that price now. It's about $700, I think.
Well, yeah, I don't have that many records anyways here, so I don't need that kind of equipment. So
right.
So I mean that's all you see. All that basically, and right there, and up on the right. That's all I have, right? So I don't need.
Yeah, I just got up to about 600 albums back there in that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm satisfied
with
with what I have.
A lot of them were in crates and boxes and stuff, and I was really glad to be able to get them all out and put them on shelves and try to leave enough room between the shelves, for additions. You're not constantly moving everything down a shelf,
Right. Played that game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was playing it while I was trying to put that stuff together because I had one box that was just. The front half was Beatles, and the second half was Jimi Hendrix, all in just one of those big black boxes.
That's a good box.
Yeah, no, I know. And and that was like there were 4 boxes in addition to my old smaller shelves, and it was always the one I wanted was at the bottom, and they were all so full they felt like they were going to come apart every time I moved them.
Yeah.
And so I was glad to pick up that big shelf the other day.
We ran out to Walmart today to pick up something, and I was walking by the home center. They had the Kalex, the Better Home and Gardens Kalexes. They had the 8 compartment that are usually just about $100, and they were $50 to $60.
Oh, really?
I was like, that? Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's a really good price.
Yeah, really good price.
They
Well,
weren't the color I cared for, but it's a really,
I bought that
what,
solid
40% off.
I bought that solid wood shelf that I was able to fit everything on for $75.
Yeah.
Used at one of these I don't know, emporium stores where everybody has their own booth and things for selling it,
Right.
Yeah. And I was pretty happy with it because it was exactly what I'd been looking for in terms of size, the height. The height gave me an extra shelf. The width was just right. And just really cleaned that back corner up.
Oh, I stand corrected. $52. Here you go. And they're
nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the 8 compartment. Yeah, how can you beat that?
Yeah. No, you can't.
That's a good price. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's a great price because it says they're usually $86. You can see, and I know because I've purchased a couple of 86.
Yeah, that's a good price. Yeah. Keith Richards cleaning fluid would dissolve any vinyl. Laughing my ass off. That's absolutely true. I was thinking the same thing.
This mixture that it's 1 teaspoon of the iphitol and 10 to 20 drops of the turgidine and 1 gallon of distilled water has worked for me. Great.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I've done a lot of records. Well, a lot of records
throw my
to me.
LPs in the back of the truck when I go through the car wash.
Yeah, he's right.
There you go.
There's other alternatives, like
Do you get the golden touch wash or just the standard?
You can put them in disc if you want too.
Hey,
yeah,
David's here. David, how you doing, brother? David. Good to see you, man. You want to? Would you like to? We're going to close in a little bit. Would you like to pop on for a few minutes? And
he's always got some good stories to tell.
You've got to have a Led Zeppelin story or two. I just put a link up if you'd like to hop on.
Yeah, those are pretty good. I might have to go back out before they all disappear.
Right
at $52.
Yeah,
they're gonna go fast.
Yeah, I've been watching in like Facebook Marketplace for a long time for just the right ones,
Yeah.
And when I found that shelf downtown, I was really happy about it, man. I bought it instantly because I'd been looking for long enough. I knew what I wanted. Red Fox, sorry, typo. Let's go back and check that out. Red Fox. The great one's got the blue light. It's the purest light in the spectrum. And God gave us the blue light to shine down on these dark times in the movie Foolish with Eddie Griffith. Oh, wow. Okay. Cool. Thank you. I am Hop Frog. Hello, Texas Dave.
Yeah.
Red Fox. Sorry, typo. No worries. I knew what you meant. David, you're being paged, David, by the bottom line.
Yeah, he said he was up to something.
Music Sanctuary. Eric Schultz. Michael, that's a good idea. Just don't forget to take your LPs out of their covers. Yes, I have too many water-damaged covers. So
right.
Take them out of their covers.
Yeah.
Or you drive to the car wash with them in the back of your truck. Absolutely.
I heard somewhere there's a cover exchange or a place on Discogs where they actually sell just covers.
You know what? I found a place that's the same thing. But it's like over in Europe, I think. And I never, because I've got some that were from a water damaged storage unit that are great albums. There's like Eddie Van Halen in there and Sammy Hagar and Ozzy Osbourne, Diary of a Madman with the cover all damaged across the bottom.
Yeah.
Can't pop on, unfortunately. Okay, David. Well, maybe next time.
Yeah, he's tied up.
Yeah, good to see you show up and hang out with us for a bit at least. Appreciate that. Sammy Davis Jr. You made Through the Blues. That's why they call it Blue Light in the movie Foolish. Right on.
Well, wash your hands, David.
Louis Armstrong. Hello, darling. Said,
Thumbs up.
keep that
Okay,
blue light
David.
going, boy, in the movie Foolish.
There you go, David. Just for you. Okay, there you go. That's for David.
David, yes. Well, you guys are way ahead of me, so I'm not seeing that comment yet. This chat goes by pretty quick.
Really?
Give the stream a thumbs up. Yes, please, everyone.
Yeah, thumbs up.
hit that thumbs up button. Let's get this show pushed out there by the algorithm. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. It was brought up earlier by somebody else.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
yours
yeah,
truly.
that's right. It was Nick. That's right. Yeah.
Always. Well, time to say
Time to
goodnight.
say
All right,
goodnight.
Eric.
I know. I'm kind of feeling that myself. I have a sticky fingers cover with the working zipper I don't need. You know what? I have that too. There's two working zippers. There's a real big one that was damaging the covers, and they changed it to a little smaller one. I have the little smaller one, so it's not the OG, but I'm still damn proud of it, and I love to zip that thing up and down.
I was going to say, I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. We're bad. Michael Nolan, good to see you, sir. Yeah.
Thumbs up, baby.
So, Royce, you have a job tomorrow, or are you doing a few?
Yeah, no, I'm doing I'm working on the Napomo Mesa. It's still Arroyo Grande, but I always consider that part of it Napomo. And these homes, big custom homes up on this bluff, looking down on the ocean in Shell, Pismo, Grover Beach down there. And it's really cool. Guy bought the house. It's a couple of $1 million house. And he bought it without the termite work being done and without the all the dry rot being fixed. And I actually bid a lot of dry rot repairs. And I'm almost always sorry once I get into them because there's so much damn work. But anyway, so right now I'm up there, and we replaced a bunch of fascia board. Had to take some gutters down. I thought I was clever and designed these stands to stick underneath the gutters and slide them back and brace them, and not take them completely down and then just slip them back into place. And the big one collapsed and got all fucked up.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so that gutter got ruined. Right. So much for my clever idea. But the gut. It was a long gutter, and you need 3 or 4 people to handle one that long. Right. So I was trying an alternative because all the gutter people were like 2 and 3 weeks out, and I wanted to get the job done. So anyway,
is it too long or is it too short? You can't seem to make up your mind.
Well, no, the gutter was too long.
Oh, the gutter. I'm sorry.
How'd you make up with you're selling that house there? You had on the market there, that one.
Yeah. Well, one of my sold, but I had another one on the market, and the guy he took it off the market because the market has completely changed. And what I mean by that, up until last month, if you were selling your house, you had to pay not only your agent that's listing it for you, your agent, your seller's agent, but you had to pay the commission for the buyer's agent. So the commission at the time being a standard 5%. If you're selling if you're selling an $850,000 house, use that for an example, you're paying an extra $8,000 or $9,000 to the buyer's real estate agent. Right. And so they had this big multi-zillion-dollar lawsuit and declared that was price fixing. And now, if you're going to show people a house, they have to sign a contract with you as a buyer's agent with a term and an amount that they'll pay you if they buy something you show them. And it lets the seller off the hook because now he only has to pay half the commission he used to have to pay. And so we were getting close to that, and the guy said, screw this. I'll save the $8,000 or $9,000 and pull it off the market and put it back on again later. So he did that. Right. So he rented it out for a while.
I think that's what happened with our house. I think we this real estate sales guy, ours, split the percentage with the other real estate. The real estate person selling our old house. I think is that what you mean? That's what they did.
Yeah, a lot of states are that way.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing has always been negotiable, but it's kind of like people were led to believe that the standard commission was 5.5%.
Right.
It was 50-50 split between the buying agent and the selling agent. And then, of course, the agent had to, has a different split with his broker, whether it's broker gets 30%, 40%, whatever the case may be.
That's their business.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I don't care. This is what I'm paying. And in a lot of states, it's only one way. There's the commission. If there's somebody else involved, it comes out of that commission, not a second commission.
Yeah. Well,
you're California. I don't know the laws of California, so.
Yeah. Well, it's a National Association of Realtors, so it's all kind of real under that umbrella. That doesn't mean it doesn't change from area to area a little bit,
Right. Because every state still has its.
Yeah, and there's not supposed to be any price fixing, and for everybody always saying, well, the standard's 5.5. No, it's not. It's all negotiable. Never thought I'd hear myself say that. But but the thing is, well, and I live 11 miles from the ocean, Morro Bay and Cayucas, and then up the street is Shell Beach, Avila Beach, Pismo Beach, and so there's a lot of really expensive stuff around here. So even back in the day, you didn't tell people 5.5% because, a commission on a $3 or $4 million home sitting on the ocean is anybody's going to do that for 4%, not 5.5%. Maybe even lower, because those homes seem to, as expensive as they are, they sell just like that. We're talking Pacific Ocean, baby. We get to watch whales come out of the water. Even
3% on $1 million home, that's a good commission, man.
That's a good
Oh, absolutely. That's the whole point. Well, you got to remember, it depends on the day, because as each day goes by, the value of our dollar keeps tanking.
2% your agent. If your agent is a broker, 2% is probably as much as he would have made if somebody else in the office sold it and he got his cut out of that. Because we've got people advertising. A friend of mine's a broker here in Atascadero, and he's advertising 2%. But if he has an agent in his office, that's if he lists it. If he has an agent in his office that sells it, that 2% represents more than he would have gotten, with the other guy selling it. So anyway.
That's what he's saying in Texas. David's saying we're only paying 2% to our agent in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like I said, it's all negotiable. So
we have different rules here in Canada, obviously, with the real estate shit.
Are you talking about the sticky fingers cover only? Yes, the sticky fingers cover only. That's exactly right. Okay, guys. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody for being here. Some of the guys left. I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to them. Some of the panelists, Paul and Michael, and they had to go. So Dave, thanks a lot. Nick, we really appreciate you joining.
Thank you. Good to see you both. All.
Yeah. And Johnny L. I feel like you guys are family anymore, And it's really a thrill for me when you guys all come on.
And Royce, I didn't mean to come across as being a brute. It's out of my character, but when I read all that stuff about him, Michael,
okay. I was wondering what you were talking about because I didn't remember being.
But when I would come, so I'm usually more calm and mild. But when I heard that about Michael,
I don't know what to say about that. Michael's not a fan of Yoko, and he's not a fan of and he's not a fan of Sharon Osbourne.
You know what? All you have to do is look.
Real strong opinions on both of them.
All you have to do is watch a clip in YouTube with Chuck Berry, John Lennon, and Yoko playing on the stage, and watch Chuck Berry's look when he looks on Yoko.
Face, it's price. I brought that up earlier.
Yeah.
It's like
I know.
And if Chuck Berry doesn't like it, then I know it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, the look on Chuck's face is
Oh yeah,
priceless.
priceless. Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
like.
Oh, I know.
That's an album I listened to this weekend. Is 21 best songs by Chuck Berry. Man,
the great 28 or something like that.
Great album. Wow.
Yeah, I have that yellow cover.
No, this is a darker color. It's the 21.
Okay. I have what they call
it's called a Japanese press. It was it's only pressed in Japan. Yeah, but it is awesome. Yeah.
Sir James, good night, Sir James. Good to see you in the chat.
Good night.
Really
Thanks for having me, Royce.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave,
all right. Thank you, guys.
Johnny
I appreciate
God bless everyone.
Let's see you, Nick.
Appreciate everyone that joined me up here. And that's what's happening in Royce's world today. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you. Good night, guys.
See ya.